So, as I promised before, I'm going to take a little bit of time here to document the story of Signs, the evolution of this project that I now hold so near and dear to my heart. Um, this historical account here is for anyone that might find this project later, or if anyone's interested currently about the evolution of things and how everything has unfolded. This is for you guys. This is not going to be another hype video. Not going to be about price or to try to convince you to buy it or anything. This is simply just a record of the journey so far. So whenever Signs launched, myself, I was just another participant in the meme coin space, trying to make it. I wasn't looking to run a project, wasn't looking to necessarily build anything. I wasn't planning to take over a project or create any visions or roadmaps around anything. Honestly, what caught my attention wasn't necessarily the token; it's the phrase that it's built upon. You know, when I make it in crypto, I won't say anything, but there will be signs. As you can see here, I'm going to let this carousel just continue to play through, but you kind of get the point here. At the time, whenever this thing released, it was not really a project, with the same intent behind it that we do now. It was simply just a token built upon a popular phrase within crypto. So this project launched on Pump Fun on July 16th, 2024. At the time, again, I was just another meme coiner, going from rug to rug and getting rinsed left and right. Not a very good time, to be honest, but it's what you get. I was playing the lottery and just losing way more than I was winning. I found Signs the day that it came out and immediately just felt like this was a narrative to get behind. Something worth actually believing in versus whatever random shitcoins you can name. There's millions of them. So I checked it out, joined the Telegram, and of course bought some of the token. Vibes were high, a lot of engagement, but that kind of stuff was a little short lived. Within the first couple weeks after launch, some small things started to feel off about it. Nothing really dramatic or explosive, just some subtle inconsistencies and gaps in communication. Things not necessarily worth panicking over it initially, but definitely worth watching and looking into a little bit. So, at the time, I didn't really overreact, kind of just sat back and observed some things. At the same time, price action, which is one of these concerns, started to really get to other people as well. But my initial concern wasn't necessarily just the price, but for me, it was about watching the behavior. Behavior will tell you much more about the situation than just looking at something like the price. So honestly, what followed over the next few weeks after that wasn't necessarily just one big discovery. It's kind of gradually learning some things, patterns that didn't make much sense, answers to questions that we all had that weren't getting answered, and promises that kept shifting shape. Someone ended up reaching out to me privately. Someone who had encountered the same people that were behind the project initially in other projects. Okay, so that conversation, confirmed some of my suspicions. But of course, you can't take anything at face value. I went through, did some verification of some things. And once I did, the picture became pretty clear. We were getting taken advantage of, At that point, holding quietly was no longer an option for me. And I'm not going to expose. I don't want to name any names. I'm not going to expose anybody. I don't enjoy exposing people. I don't really seek conflict in that way. And to be honest, selling for a loss and moving on would have been much easier in hindsight. But at the same time, that silence would make me complicit as well. So I stepped in. By the time everything came to light, the community wasn't necessarily shocked. Most of the holders kind of knew something was going on. So an idea of a regime change didn't necessarily feel extreme. It was actually kind of what people wanted. At the time that we orchestrated this takeover, there was a team of about 8 of us. We worked on ideas for how to best rebrand and grow the project from there. Once we took control of everything, we sat around in the background for a couple months, waiting out the old team just in case they had supply control, wait for them to get bored and sell out or whatever. Just kind of planning our next move and when's the best time to take it. Of course, over this time, life happens, people fall off. There were some disagreements about some things, and other people fell off. Whenever the smoke all settled, there were about three of us, that were steadfast and still remaining. So we worked pretty diligently over the next couple months to come up with a new brand, a new ID around the project that could expand past just hype. Okay, we realized that paying KOLs for fake engagement and whatever else, buying boost on deck screener, like these are all losing games. These are things that scammy people do. So we wanted to build something that was a little bit more than that. At the time, we branded this the Club for Extravagant Degenerates. Okay, so for those of you that have been here long enough, you know about that. We had a whole launch with this ethos. More recently, we've kind of matured it a little bit to not be so degenerate, I guess you could say. So now what we call this is the Club for the Quiet Elite. Three of us out of that group still remain, although I guess I'm what you'd consider the face of the project. Whenever I stepped into this role, it wasn't necessarily about the authority, the control of it. To me, leadership is not about control. It's ultimately about taking responsibility for what happens next, even whenever that responsibility is a little bit inconvenient, and it can be sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I didn't step up because I wanted power. I stepped up because somebody had to care about the future of this and where this went. I had the most invested, both in capital and in time. So it only made sense that I was the one to, take the reins. Since then, I've grown from merely somebody that likes the narrative to someone that actually has learned a great deal about web development and how to build things and implement the stuff that we dreamt of in that roadmap and utility plan that we spent months developing. Now, actually, I kind of find great enjoyment in continuing to learn about this stuff and to build what we had a vision for into this project. And to be honest, if you ask me, the best is yet to come. Again, this where we're at now compared to where we've been, the things that we've built into this project. I'm more than excited for the future. But again, this is not meant to be a shill. This is just where we're at. So originally, science was just a phrase, a narrative. But phrases alone don't survive multiple cycles. Phrases alone don't get those people that are serious about crypto, DeFi, this whole ecosystem to stay in your project. Structure does. So what began as a token tied to an idea has evolved into something much more deliberate, something that's built to earn conviction. And again, this video is not a promise for the future. Of course, I have full faith and best hopes that this is going to become what I hope it's going to become. But again, there's no guarantees. This is not financial advice. This is still a meme coin, even though we're building things into it that make it more of a utility-based thing. It's still a meme. Okay, so again, this is not a promise of anything. This is just a reference point to see where things have been, where we're at now, and give you a little glimpse of what to come in the future. So where this goes from here, it'll be visible in the work that's being done. You can come see this site anytime. I have the most recent updates and everything pushed out live now. It's worth checking out if you want to check it out. But that being said, I'll be putting out weekly updates. I put one out this past week. You'll be able to see the proof is going to be in the pudding, not in necessarily what anybody says, not what I say, not what anybody else on the team would say, not what anybody in the community would say. be able to check the work. You'll find here that I'm not necessarily interested in getting fast attention. I mentioned the KOLs earlier. Like, I get reached out to all the time. People want to do these marketing promos and all this other bullshit. And to be honest, like, we've done that before. It's a waste of money. The only real way to bring in good people, good quality people, is to build a good quality project. And so again, I'm not interested in the fast attention. I'm interested in building something that is durable, something that people can align with. You know, whenever the time comes, the right people won't need to be convinced. They'll recognize it for what it is. And when that happens, I won't say much, but there will be signs.